All right, let's talk about former second-round pick, former Super Bowl champion Antoine Winfield, who's really emerging as one of the premier players in the NFL, in my opinion. He just does so many things so well for Tampa Bay, and he's a perfect scheme fit as well for them. So yeah, let's get into the film and talk about what he's able to do so effectively. Starting off with this play, this is a perfect example of the way Todd Bowles kind of likes to utilize his different weapons on defense and how Antoine Winfield perfectly fits in that situation where, you see the blocking concept. 5 offensive linemen for the New Orleans Saints. That's what you typically do. For Tampa Bay, they have currently 5 players lined up on the line. So, okay, makes sense. You have those 5 players. They're not all defensive linemen, like Levante David closer towards the bottom of the screen. He's lined up on the line, but still could be blitzing here. So for the Saints, kind of an easy way to start this off, where you have every offensive lineman at the line. Your job is to just look at the guy who's right in front of you. If they rush the passer, you block them. If anything else happens, anything unusual happens, you block from the inside out. That's typically how you make these things work. But that's what Tampa Bay is going to do, where they're going to have their 3 interior defensive linemen all rush the passer, along with Devin White, a linebacker who's lined up as a linebacker, rush the passer as an off-ball linebacker. You then have your 2 players who are sort of lined up as edge rushers on this play. They're going to drop back into coverage. And lastly, the player I've circled in white, Antoine Winfield, also going to be rushing the passer here. Winfield is the key guy here, obviously. He's the guy that we're making a video on, so that makes sense. But the reason why this can be effective is because you're basically overloading the middle of the offensive line. Ideally, in a perfect world, hey, it's still 5 offensive linemen, 4 or 5 defenders. It shouldn't be that difficult. But think about how hard that would be to fully, make sure that you're aware of Winfield on this play. Watch as when it begins, you see that I would actually say New Orleans does a pretty decent job at it, where they're able to cover, everyone else, get the, eventually figure out the, 4 out of the 5 the offensive line is, and you had Kamara blocking on this play, which was smart by Derek Carr to make sure that he was blocking. Maybe that was just a play by design, but either way, make sure Kamara is blocking instead of running a route, which usually you want Kamara running a route. So, at the very least, this is an advantage right away of taking Kamara out of the equation on 3rd and 4. I'm sure that's part of why Todd Bowles wanted to dial this up, is to take him out of the play. But also watch Winfield really bowl over Kamara. Bowl over is a harsh word. Kamara did a decent job, but Winfield is able to still win that matchup and get over to Carr to get the sack right there. Really good stuff from Antoine Winfield, and these are the kind of things he's capable of. Kind of what the whole criticism of Winfield coming out of college was, yeah, good college player, but doesn't really have the size to make it work at the NFL level. Well, I don't know. He's making it work at the NFL level, if you ask me. This play was just a huge play in the game, and big game players, like the key players, find ways to not just do their job, but to make splash plays. I don't know what it is, and maybe it's just because when you make splash plays, people notice that more. I don't know. But it does feel like, as a safety, if you're good at stopping the run, you also just seemingly are good at knocking a ball out on occasion, and that's what we're going to see here. We're huge play in this football game. I mean, for one thing, to talk about momentum, if you're a believer in the thing, Tampa Bay had the ball in the red zone, and then Mayfield throws an interception, and Tampa Bay got a break. Should have been, looked like to most people, including myself, it should have been a touchback. They ended up ruling him down at the 1. But, okay, what do you do if you're a football team? Take advantage of the breaks that you get. On display, it's going to be just a fullback dive towards the offense's right. They're not trying to get a ton of yards here. I actually think if they get a couple yards, they might just take a knee from here on out and just call it and say, okay, let's go to the half down just 4 points here. With only 41 seconds left, a 99-yard drive seems unlikely given the way this offense is currently playing. But watch how when it begins, Winfield, again, nothing crazy, moves in, is ready to stop the run. But you notice how he's not fully engaged at this point. He's doing something a little different, where instead of doing what I think you would expect a lot of players to do, which is, completely just, lower the shoulder, go straight for the, halfback, try to make a tackle, he's paying attention to what the halfback is doing and how he's running with the football. I'm going to have to cut over to the other angle to fully show it because the broadcast angle did not show it too well. But you see right here, Winfield has that right arm, and watch what he's going to do with it. I watch him just, sort of peanut punch that football out. It's just smart football of saying, hey, the fullback on this play is going down. Like, he's getting tackled. I don't have to, help that much. Let's go for the football. Let's see if I can knock that thing out. And that's exactly what he was able to do. And that was a huge play. Tampa Bay got a touchdown. And, yes, they pulled away in the fourth quarter, but this would have been a competitive game throughout, really until that, kind of midway through the fourth quarter, if everything else was the same, if Winfield didn't make this play. Just a huge play in the game. Also, something like this, where it's going to be it's an interesting concept, not something that's so totally unusual or anything. The Saints like to do this, but it's still fun, where it's going to be just that little, push pass to the, running back, Alvin Kamara. Makes sense. You have, your other player who's lined up as a halfback on his play. He's going to run out to block. You then have a couple other blockers on the edge, but part of the way that you hope that this works is that for some of the unblocked players for Tampa Bay on that side of the field, they're not going to be able to read quickly enough that this is going to be a run towards the right, and they're going to, and hopefully this will just make it difficult for Tampa Bay to get over. Kamara's really fast. He's in open space. It's a good play concept. I like it. But right off the bat, it goes terrible. Really well done by Tampa Bay. First, I've had to color code a few different things because a lot to take note of here. First, the white circle, you're going to see that Shaq Barrett, who's having a really good season for Tampa Bay now that he's healthy, doing a great job of reading this play so quickly, getting over, and pushing Kamara back. So while Barrett's not going to be able to actually make the tackle here, he's doing a great job of just disrupting this play, disrupting the timing. Also, the other halfback, the one who I've circled in yellow, not exactly sure what he's doing here. He's kind of just running up towards the top of the screen, ready to block a guy who's already has a blocker on him. So that's a mistake. He should be peeling back and probably blocking Winfield on this play. But I think he also maybe expected Winfield to not take this angle. I think he expected Winfield to take an angle closer towards the sideline. But Winfield kind of looked at the situation and said, hey, Shaq Barrett pushed Kamara back. I don't have to, give up yards here. Instead, watch him come in like a heat-seeking missile, makes a great tackle, and is able to, get a huge tackle for a loss. Again, Winfield's just one of those players where it's like, there are some players who they get the splash plays, but they don't always get the, maybe don't lack some consistency. There are some players who are consistent players, but, maybe don't necessarily get the splash plays. But then there's the player like Winfield, who his consistency is off the charts, making him a great player. But he doesn't just do that. He also gets the splash plays, which is just what makes him such a valuable player. And even stuff like this, where it's like a small thing, but it's a good play, where you see where he is on the field. He's going to be blitzing here. Watch as one, it's actually Taysom Hill who's going to hand the ball off, which that matters because for Winfield, you see him, he's paying attention to potentially Taysom Hill himself going to be, moving here, which, okay, yeah, that's something you got to be aware of. But then watch just the hustle of Winfield to get over and makes that quick tackle and is able to really help out. So on a play where typically in that scenario for Taysom Hill, you kind of expect Taysom Hill, just the threat of him to take Winfield out of the play. Not only did it not take Winfield out of play, Winfield made the play and was able to get a quick tackle there. So again, just a real key player and doing a lot of really good stuff for Tampa Bay right now, and a huge part of why Tampa Bay is 3-1, so figured I'd give him some love. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Winfield. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.